Want to speak English fluently in just 7 days? If you feel stuck when you try to speak, today is your lucky day. Welcome to day one of our 7-day English Fluency Challenge.
That's right. Today, we are focusing on 99 essential English sentences, and we are going to use a special, highly effective technique called shadowing. When I was a beginner, this technique completely changed how I speak.
I am so glad it helped you, David. For our listeners, shadowing simply means you listen to an English sentence and then you repeat it out loud immediately. You copy the sounds just like a shadow follows a person. It is the fastest way to train your mouth to speak naturally.
Exactly, Emma. It stops you from translating words in your head. You just hear the rhythm and copy it. We will guide you through these 99 sentences today, step by step. You don't need a textbook, just your voice and a quiet room.
You know, David, while we were preparing these sentences today, I remembered a very simple rule about shadowing. I call it the mirror trick. It fixes 90% of pronunciation mistakes almost instantly. I will share it with you and our listeners a little later in this podcast.
Oh, the mirror trick. Now I am really curious. I honestly wish I knew that trick when I was learning my first words. But let's not make them wait for the practice. Are you ready to dive into the first set of everyday sentences?
Absolutely. Let's start with sentences we use every single morning. Listen closely and remember to repeat exactly after us.
The very first thing you might say is about waking up. Let's start there. I wake up at 7 a.m. Listen and repeat. I wake up at 7 a.m.
Great job. Now, here is a very common mistake I hear from beginners. Many students say, I am wake up at 7 a.m.
Oh, Emma, I used to do that all the time. I thought I needed the word am for every single sentence about myself.
It is a very natural mistake, David. But remember, when we talk about a daily habit, we don't need the be verb. We just need the action word. Just say, I wake up. Let's practice it the right way together. I wake up at 7 a.m.
Perfect. After waking up, what do we do next? We leave the bed. The sentence is, I get out of bed. Repeat after me. I get out of bed.
Excellent. Now let's build on that. A very useful English phrase is, I make my bed. This means you organize your blankets and pillows so your room looks clean. Try saying it with me. I make my bed.
You know, Emma, I remember another big mistake I made with this phrase. I used to say, I do my bed. In my native language, the verb for make and do is exactly the same word.
That makes perfect sense, David. English can be tricky with the words make and do. We usually use make when we create, build, or arrange something. So we make the bed and we make breakfast. Speaking of breakfast, let's practice that. I make breakfast.
I love breakfast. And while I eat, I usually need my morning drink. The sentence is, I drink a cup of coffee. Let's shadow this one. I drink a cup of coffee.
Beautiful pronunciation. Did you notice how David connects the words cup and of? In natural speaking, it sounds like cuppa. I drink a cup of coffee. Let's try it one more time like a native speaker.
That cuppa trick really makes a difference, Emma. After enjoying my coffee, it is time to leave the house. A simple sentence we use is, I go to work. Let's say it together. I go to work.
Spot on. Now, how do you get to work? This is where many English learners get confused with prepositions.
Oh, definitely. I remember making a funny mistake with this. I used to say, I go to work by walk. It made sense in my head.
I hear that one all the time. We use the word by for vehicles, so we say by car, by bus, or by train. But when we use our legs, we say on foot. Let's practice both. First, the vehicle. I go to work by bus.
Excellent. And now let's practice walking. I go to work on foot.
You are doing great, everyone. Now, what happens if there are too many cars on the road? We call that traffic. A great sentence to know is the traffic is heavy today.
Nobody likes heavy traffic, but it is a very useful sentence. Let's shadow it. Pay attention to the H sound in heavy. The traffic is heavy today.
And if the traffic is heavy, you might not be on time. You can say, I am running late. This doesn't mean you are physically running with your legs, it just means you are behind schedule. Try it. I am running late.
And when you finally arrive at work, even if you are running late, you still need to greet your coworkers.
Exactly. You want to sound friendly. A very common question you will hear in the office is, how is your day going? Let's practice that together. How is your day going?
You know, Emma, when I first started working in an English speaking office, I always answered every single greeting with, I am fine, thank you, and you? I sounded like a robot.
Oh, David, that is what every textbook teaches. It is definitely not wrong, but it does sound a little unnatural in everyday conversation. A better, more native way to reply is simply, I'm doing well, thanks. You?
Yes, it is so much shorter and friendlier. Let's ask our listeners to shadow this natural response. Listen closely and repeat. I'm doing well, thanks. You?
Perfect. Now, after saying hello, it is time to actually start working. The very first thing you do when you sit at your desk is prepare your equipment. The phrase is, I turn on my computer.
Let's shadow that one. Pay attention to how the words turn and on connect smoothly. I turn on my computer.
Great job. Next, you probably need to look at your messages. A very useful everyday phrase is, I check my emails. Try saying it with me. I check my emails. A quick tip for our learners here. Notice the S at the end of emails. Many learners forget it and just say email for everything. Adding the S is very common when talking about the many messages waiting for you in your inbox. Let's practice it one more time. I check my emails. After I check my emails, my inbox is usually full, and then it is time to gather with the team. A very common sentence is, I have a meeting. Let's shadow that together. I have a meeting. Excellent. Now, here is something interesting. I often hear students say, I make a meeting. Have you ever heard that, David? Heard it? I used to say it. It is that tricky word make again. That's right. For scheduled events or appointments, we don't make or do them, we have them. We have a meeting or we have an appointment. Let's practice the correct way again. I have a meeting. Speaking of daily work routines, Emma, this is a great time to ask our listeners a question. Oh, yes. We want to hear from you right now. Do you prefer working in an office or do you prefer working from home? Go to the comments and write your answer. We read every single one. I love reading the comments. Now, whether you are at home or in the office, you eventually need to rest. The phrase we use is, I take a break. Listen and repeat. I take a break. And during your break, what do you usually do? You might eat a small piece of food. We call that a snack. Let's try saying, I eat a snack. Or you might just talk to your team to relax. I chat with my coworkers. Shadow this one with me. I chat with my coworkers. Chatting with coworkers is great, but eventually the break is over. We have to go back to our tasks and finish the day. Yes, and after a few more hours, the best time of the workday arrives. It is time to go back to our houses.
A simple sentence to use is, I finish my work. Let's practice that. I finish my work.
Perfect. Now, I have a quick question for you, David. When you were a beginner, did you ever say, I end my work?
Oh, absolutely. I thought the words finish and end were exactly the same thing.
They are very similar, so it is a very logical mistake. But in English, we usually finish a task, a job, or a meal. We use end for things like a movie, a game, or a story. So for your job, always say, I finish my work.
That is a great tip. So after I finish my work, I leave the building. The sentence is, I leave the office. Shadow this with me. I leave the office.
Great job. And then comes the journey back. You say, I go home. Listen and repeat. I go home.
Emma, this is a huge point. I used to say I go to home for years. I thought because we say I go to work or I go to the store, we must add to before home.
That is probably one of the most common mistakes in the entire English language, David. The word home is special. It carries a feeling of comfort, and grammatically, it acts differently. It never needs the word to before it. We just say, I go home. Let's practice that correctly together. I go home.
It actually feels much easier to say without the to. And once I finally arrive, I usually say I unlock the door. Let's shadow that together. I unlock the door.
That is exactly what you do. You unlock the door, step inside, and finally relax.
Oh, it is the best feeling. The very first thing I do is remove my shoes. A good sentence for this is, I take off my shoes. Let's shadow this together. I take off my shoes.
Great. Now, after you relax for a little bit, you probably start to feel hungry. So it is time to prepare food. We can say, I cook dinner.
Emma, speaking of cooking, I have to share a very funny story. When I was learning English, I used to tell everyone, I am a very good cooker. My American friends always laughed at me.
Oh, I can see why, David. This is a classic mistake, and it is so easy to make. In English, when we add ER to a word, it usually means the person doing the action, like teacher or singer.
Correct. That is why I thought cooker was the right word for me.
But cook is an exception. A cooker is actually the metal machine in your kitchen that heats the food, like a stove. The person who makes the food is simply called a cook. So you should say, I am a good cook.
Yes, I am a person, not a machine. That is a great lesson. Now, let's practice the action of preparing the meal. I cook dinner. Repeat after me. I cook dinner.
Excellent. And when the delicious food is ready, you sit down to enjoy it. The sentence is simple. I eat dinner. Let's practice. I eat dinner.
After a good meal, my favorite thing to do is sit on the sofa and look at some shows. But wait, Emma, another mistake I used to make was saying, I see TV.
That is a very common confusion between the words see, look, and watch. We use watch when we look at something that is moving or changing over a period of time, like a television screen, a movie, or a sports game.
That rule makes it so clear. So the correct everyday sentence is, I watch TV. Let's ask our listeners to shadow this one. I watch TV.
Watching TV is the perfect way to unwind. But of course, you cannot watch TV all night.
Absolutely. Eventually, my eyes get heavy and I feel tired. Before I sleep, I need to clean my mouth. The sentence is, I brush my teeth. Let's shadow that together. I brush my teeth.
Excellent. Pay attention to that TH sound at the end of teeth. Make sure your tongue is between your teeth. Now, what is the very last thing you do before you close your eyes?
Well, I need to make sure I don't wake up late the next morning. So I take my phone and I say, I set my alarm. Listen and repeat. I set my alarm.
Very good. Now, it is time for the final action of the day. A lot of learners simply say, I sleep, when they are talking about their routine. But there is a specific phrase we use for moving your body under the blankets.
I remember struggling with this. To sleep is the action your brain and body do when your eyes are closed. But the physical action of walking into your bedroom and getting under the covers is simply, I go to bed.
That is perfectly explained, David. Let's ask our listeners to practice this very important nighttime phrase. I go to bed. And just like that, our entire day is complete. We woke up, we went to work, we came back home, and now we are in bed. Exactly. And that is a full, productive day using natural English. But before we close our eyes, David, do you remember what I promised our listeners at the very beginning of the podcast?
Oh, yes, the mirror trick. I have been waiting for this since we started. You said it fixes 90% of pronunciation mistakes instantly.
Yes, I did. The mirror trick is very simple, but it is incredibly powerful. When you practice shadowing these sentences, I want you to do it standing in front of a mirror. Look closely at how your mouth, lips, and tongue move.
So, you mean I should watch my own face while I speak?
Correct! Many English sounds, like the TH in teeth or the V in heavy, require your mouth to be in a very specific position. If you use a mirror, you can actually see if you are making the shape correctly, instead of just guessing.
That is brilliant. You connect your ears to your eyes. I am definitely going to use the mirror for our 7-day challenge. Let's ask our listeners to say, I use a mirror while visualizing it. I use a mirror.
Beautiful! Now, before we say goodbye for day one, it is time for a quick mini quiz to test your memory from today's lesson.
Oh, I love quizzes. Let's see who was paying attention. Earlier, we talked about finishing work and returning to your house. What is the correct sentence? Do we say, I go to home, or do we say, I go home?
Think about the special rule we discussed. Take a guess and say your answer out loud right now.
Time is up. If you said, I go home, you are 100% correct. Remember, home is special. No to is needed.
Excellent job, everyone. If you got that right, it means you were really paying attention today.
We practiced so many great everyday sentences today, from waking up in the morning to getting into bed at night. If you shadowed us today, you did an amazing job training your mouth to speak English naturally.
You really did. And remember, this is only day one of our 7-day fluency challenge. We have 6 more days of incredible, easy practice coming up to build your confidence.
I cannot wait for day 2. But before we say goodbye, we want to know a little bit more about you.
Exactly. Today was all about daily routines. So my question for you is, what is your favorite part of the day? Do you love the quiet morning with your coffee? Or do you prefer relaxing in the evening?
Go to the comments and tell us right now in English. I will be reading your answers and replying to as many as I can.
We can't wait to read them. Don't forget to use the mirror trick when you practice these sentences again. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you tomorrow for day 2.
Bye, everyone. Keep practicing and keep speaking.